Hello, this is Mr. Flatness, and today we'll be learning how to multiply decimals by other decimals. Here's the procedure for multiplying decimals. Please write these down in your notes. When we multiply decimals together, we're going to multiply like we normally would, with ignoring the decimal points at first, then placing the decimal in the product so that it equals the same number of decimal places in the factors. So in the example, 7/10 times 3/10 equals 21/100. Notice that I have one decimal place in each of the 0.7 and the 0.3. So those two give you a combination of two total decimal points in my answer, or two decimal places in my answer. So 7/10 times 3/10 would equal 21/100. Here's important vocabulary you also need to write down in your notes. Leading digit. You'll hear me say leading digit a lot in this lesson. So you need to know that a leading digit is the first non-zero digit in a number. So I have two examples. In 356, the leading digit would be the first digit I see that's not a zero, which is 3. So 3 is the leading digit. In 2698, 2 is the leading digit. Here are two examples that we're going to work on together. Please write these down in your notes. Problem 1, we have 5.82 times 0.41. Using the steps that we indicated in the first or the slide previous to this, I'm going to first ignore the decimal points. And so it's just 582 times 41. So I'm going to traditionally multiply them together. 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 8 is 8, and 1 times 5 is 5. Then I'll multiply 4 times, or add a 0 in as a placeholder first, and then I will take 582 and multiply them all by 4. 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 8 is 32, and 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 is 23. Then I'll add the digits together. 2 plus 0 is 2, 8 plus 8 is 16, 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8, 3 plus nothing is 3, and 2 plus nothing is 2. The second step now is I will place the decimal point correctly in my product. So I will look up in the problem of my two factors. So I have 5.82 as a factor. So 8 and 2 are behind the decimal point. That's 2 digits. Then I'll look at 0.41. Notice there are 2 digits behind the decimal in that factor. So that means I need a combination of 4 total digits behind the decimal in my answer. So to place the decimal point correctly, I need 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to know then that 4 digits, and here they are, 1, 2, 3, 4 digits have to be behind the decimal in my answer. So the answer is 2.3862. I can also use estimation to appropriately place the decimal point as well. Taking a look at 5.82, 5.82 estimates to 6, very, very close to 6. And 0.4 is very, very close to 0.5, or half. Well, what's half of 6? Half of 6 is 3. So I should know then that my answer, 2.3862, has to be very, very close to 3, which it is. In example 2, why don't you try it first by pressing pause, solve the problem, and then later press play and then see if you're correct, as I will be working it out. Step 1, ignore the decimal point and multiply the numbers as you see them. So 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 5 times 6 is 30. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this too so I don't mistakenly answer that. I'll add 0 as a placeholder because I'm done multiplying by 5. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 0 is 0. And 2 times 6 is 12. Add the digits together. We get 5, 7, 0, 1. So then I'll take a look at the digits in my factors. Notice in 60.3 there's 1 digit behind the decimal. In 0.25 I have 2 digits. So that gives me a combination of 3 digits that I need behind the decimal in my answer. Therefore, I would need to place my decimal point here at 15 because I have 3 digits behind the decimal in my answer. So my answer should be 15.075. I can also use estimation to check to see if my answer works and it makes sense. 60.3 is very, very close to 60. And 0.25, that's the same thing as 1/4. Okay, a fraction 1/4. So I can think about 1/4 of 60, 60 divided by 4, which would be 15. So taking a look at that, 15 and 15.075 makes a lot of sense. In this example, we're going to talk about the concept of annexing zeros. To annex means to add to the end. So what we're going to do is add zeros onto the end of a product. So, taking a look at this example, I'm going to multiply 0.013 times 2.4. So, again, I'll solve it like I had in the previous two examples. I'll ignore the decimals at first and multiply 4 times 3, which is 12. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 4 times 0 is 0. I will add a 0 as a placeholder, and now take 2 times 3 for 6, 2 times 1 for 2, and 2 times 0 for 0. Add the digits, 2, 11, and 3, and 0. So, to place the decimal point appropriately, I notice here I have 3 digits in that factor behind the decimal, and only 1 digit here. So 3 digits plus another digit means I need 4 total digits behind the decimal in my answer. Okay, so looking at my product of 312, notice then that I needed this extra 0 here, so that's why I added on this extra 0, because now I can put my decimal point right there because I added that 0. So now I have 4 total digits behind the decimal in my answer. So my final answer would be 0.0312, which by using estimation as well makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Because if I were to estimate it, 2.4 is about 2, and 0.013 is very, very close to 0. So I need an answer that's very, very close to 0. And 0.0312 is very, very close to 0. In this next problem, we will be working with multiplying decimals together. Central Park in Manhattan, New York is 2.5 miles by 0.5 mile. What is its area? So taking a look at this, I need to remember how to find the area of a shape. So I know that the dimensions are 2.5 by 0.5. So I can just simply draw a rectangle and take a look at the dimensions of 2.5 by 0.5. So to find the area of a rectangle, I know that area needs to be equal to the length times the width. So for me to find the area of this, I need to take 2.5 times 0.5. So then I'll use the skills of multiplying decimals to come up with my answer. Ignoring the decimals, I got 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. I'll place the decimals. Again, I have 1 digit here, 1 digit here for a combination of 2 total digits. So I will place the decimal point between the 1 and the 2 to make it 1.25, and that would also be square miles. For this final problem, try to work it out on your own by pressing pause, then press play to check your work over. Jennifer makes $8.79 an hour walking dogs. She walks dogs for $6.75 hours per week. How much money does she earn each week? Justify your answer. So the important details of this problem, we need to know, well, how many hours does she walk the dogs, which we have here is 6.75 hours. And then we also need to know how much she gets paid per hour, $8.79. So I need to multiply those two together to get my answer. So I will take 8.79 times 6.75. Ignoring the decimal points, I will multiply the digits together. 9 times 5 is 45. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 4 is 39. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 3 is 43. Add a digit 0 for a placeholder. 7 times 9 is 63. 7 times 7 is 49, plus 6 would be 55. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 5 would be 61. And then multiplying everything by 6. I will add now 2 zeros as placeholders because I've taken care of the 2, 5, and 7. So now multiplying everything by 6. 6 times 9 is 54. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 5 is 47. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 4 is 52. Add them all up. 5, 12, 4 and 5 is 9, plus 4 is 13. 4 and 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, plus 7 is 13. 7 plus 2 is 9, and 5. So there are all the digits. Now I need to place my decimal point. Notice I have 2 digits to the right of the decimal in 8.79, 2 digits to the right of the decimal in 6.75 for a grand total of 4. So I need to have 4 digits behind the decimal in my answer. So that's going to be 59.3325. Finally, I need to take a look at what my answer is and what does it mean. Again, I want to find out how much money does she earn each week. Well, 59.3325 is not a number that talks about money. So what I need to do is take that number and turn it into a money number. So I know that $59.30, I need 2 digits behind the decimal point for the cents. So I'm going to use rounding. So looking at 59.33, I'm going to look here. That's the pennies part. So I'm going to look to its neighbor, which is a 2. A 2 is a 4 or lower number. Therefore, this 3 remains the same. So my final answer is going to be, how much money does she earn? She earns $59.33. And I can use estimation to see if that answer actually makes sense or not. I know that 879 is very, very close to $9. And I know that 6 3/4 hours, or 6.75 hours, is very close to 7 hours. Well, I know that 9 times 7 is 63 bucks. And $63 is very, very close to $59. This concludes the lesson, and now you have enough information so that you can use to answer the problems that you are assigned successfully.